You've got $20,000 and you want it working in real estate. But here's the question nobody gives you a straight answer on. Do you buy a rental property? Or do you put that money into REITs and never deal with a single leaky faucet? Let's actually settle this today, because both paths can build serious wealth. But they work in completely different ways, and depending on your situation, one of them could be flat out wrong for you. First, let's make sure we're on the same page. A REIT, or Real Estate Investment Trust, is basically a company that owns income-producing real estate. Shopping centers, apartment complexes, warehouses, hospitals, and they're required by law to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income as dividends to shareholders. You buy shares just like you'd buy stock. Easy. A rental property, on the other hand, means you own actual physical real estate, you find tenants, you collect rent, and you manage the asset directly or hire someone to do it. Both of these are real estate. But they feel nothing alike in practice. Let's talk returns first, because that's why you're here. Historically, REITs have delivered average annual returns somewhere between 10 and 12% when you factor in dividends and price appreciation. That's competitive with the stock market, and in many stretches, REITs have outperformed it. Rental property returns are harder to pin down because they vary so much by market. But a solid rental in a good area can generate a cash-on-cash return of 6 to 10% annually, plus property appreciation that historically averages around 3 to 4% per year nationwide, though certain markets have crushed that number. Here's where rental property pulls ahead, though. Leverage. When you put $20,000 into REITs, you have $20,000 working for you. When you use that same $20,000 as a down payment on a $100,000 rental property, you have $100,000 of real estate working for you. If that property appreciates 5%, you didn't make 5% on 20 grand. You made 5% on 100 grand. That's $5,000, which is a 25% return on your actual cash invested. Leverage is the multiplier that makes rental property potentially the faster wealth builder over the long run, especially in appreciating markets. But leverage is also the thing that can burn you, because if that same property drops in value, loses a tenant for 6 months, or needs a new roof you weren't expecting, you're the one on the hook. REITs don't do that to you. If a REIT drops 20%, it hurts, but you're not getting a call from a property manager at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Let's talk about liquidity, because this one matters more than people think. REITs are liquid. You can sell them in seconds during market hours. If life throws something at you, a job loss, a medical bill, an opportunity, you can access that money fast. Rental property is illiquid by nature. Selling a property takes weeks or months, and trying to sell quickly often means selling cheap. If you don't have a fully funded emergency fund before you buy a rental, you're playing with fire. Now let's talk effort. REITs require almost none. You buy shares through a brokerage account. Dividends hit your account automatically, and you go about your life. Rental property, even if you hire a property manager, still requires your attention. You're making decisions. You're dealing with vacancies. You're handling maintenance surprises. You're doing the accounting. It's not passive. It's semi-passive at best. That's not a knock, but you need to go in with clear eyes. There's also the tax angle, and it's actually a reason a lot of serious real estate investors prefer physical property. With a rental, you can deduct mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, repairs, and one of the most powerful deductions available to any investor, depreciation. The IRS lets you depreciate the value of a residential property over 27.5 years, which means you can often show a paper loss on a property that's actually cash flowing positively, shielding other income from taxes. REITs pay dividends that are typically taxed as ordinary income, which is your highest tax rate. There are some nuances, but in general, rental property gives you more tax flexibility. So who actually wins? If you want the fastest possible wealth building, and you're willing to do the work. Understand the risks, and you have the capital. Plus, reserves, rental property with smart leverage in the right market, has a higher ceiling. The combination of cash flow, appreciation, leverage, and tax benefits is hard to beat over a 10 or 20-year window. But if you're just starting out, you don't have a large emergency fund, you want to stay completely hands-off, or you want a dollar-cost average into real estate with whatever you can afford each month, REITs are a legitimate, powerful tool. You're still building exposure to real estate. You're still collecting income. You're still compounding. And you can start with $50. The honest answer, and I know this sounds like a dodge, but it isn't, is that the best investors often use both. REITs for liquidity, diversification, and passive income. Direct rental property for leverage and tax advantages. You're not choosing a team. You're building a toolkit. The real question isn't which one builds wealth faster in theory. It's which one you'll actually stick with, execute well, and not panic out of when things get hard. Because both of them reward patience and punish people who abandon ship at the worst moment. Do your math. Know your risk tolerance. Be honest about how much time and stress you're willing to take on. And then start. Because sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect answer is the only guaranteed way to lose. If this video helped you think through the decision, hit the like button. It seriously helps us reach more people who are trying to figure this stuff out. And if you want more real, practical breakdowns on building passive income and investing without the hype, subscribe to YieldPath. We drop new content every week, and we will never waste your time.